Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to Philly Talk with MK. It's your boy MK, and I'm here with a special guest, Jimmy Smith. Why don't you introduce yourself, my guy?
Mitch, my man. Well, first off, I just want to say thank you for having me on. It is truly a pleasure. And that's some great intro music and video you got there, man, getting me pumped up for the show tonight.
I
So,
appreciate that. Thank you.
oh, dude, great stuff, man. So, getting me ready to go. I'm a 4-for-4 guy, so I was getting real jacked up there. But I'm ready to go. My name's Jimmy Smith, though, for anybody that hasn't seen me before. On the Road to Victory is my brand. But I'm on YouTube, Twitter, all over the place. And, well, I'm a diehard Eagles and 4-for-4 guy. So, always talking some sports. But, Mitch, dude, I'm ready to talk tonight with you about those birds, a very up and down season. And I'm just ready to get into it, dude. Always down to talk some birds, man. So thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And to kick things off, who's your favorite Eagles player of all time?
Brian Dawkins.
Okay. Some guests had Dawkins, some had McNabb, stuff like that. You answered that quick.
Man, let me tell you. See, I grew up and it was, Reggie was a big family name, but I was really young. Randall Cunningham for me was somebody I remember being so enthralled by as a child. But I'll be real with you. When I watched Brian Dawkins, and there was McNabb and, there was Westbrook, and I loved when T.O. came for that brief stint. And there was a lot of players I loved, but Brian Dawkins brought something on the field that I just have never seen matched. And, he is the epitome of what Philadelphia sports is to me. And that's just what I grew up with. And I had a little bit of a health scare, almost died myself, and actually, had a lot going on. And I reached out, talked to Dawkins, and dude, just the words he preaches and just the things he has been through in his life. He shares a lot of his story. I think that was big for me. So not just on the field, but off the field. What a great guy. So, yeah, that's always an easy one for me to answer, Mitch.
Yeah, for me, I got McNabb, I got Westbrook, and this is actually a shocker to most people. I got Freddie Mitchell because of
the people's champ.
4th and 26. I was there. So I'm like, he's got to be up there for that at least.
That's awesome, man. I love it. I mean, I remember that vividly as a kid watching that game, 4th and 26 against the Pack. Love it.
What's up, Key in the building? What is up, BOSG? Thanks for coming on. So we got the Eagles versus Broncos coming up, right? After this loss this past week. How do you feel about this game coming up against the Broncos?
Well, I'm excited. I think every single week as an Eagles fan, I'm excited. Win, lose, or tie, bleed green until I die. And it, is something that I preached this offseason. I was really going to live that message because it was going to be, some bumpy roads. And I made the joke for the last couple of weeks now, it was more than bumpy roads. We're off-roading in a Prius right now. So I feel like things were getting a little wild when we got away from the run. Well, in the Raiders game, we started getting back to the run. Miles gets hurt. Well, after that, we run against the Lions. We ran against the Chargers. So it looks like Nick Sirianni is improving. You have to run the ball to allow Jalen Hurts to grow. So I think Jalen Hurts has been growing. We are doing things to allow that to happen, and he's going to take time. I think that's something we talked about all offseason. So I tempered my expectations. I'm not upset that we're 3-6 because now I am just saying it. It's like, oh, I don't like that. But every Sunday when we lose, I'm mad, but I try to put it into context. And this year was about growth. It's about finding out what we have for the future for me. So I try to, every time we lose, go, oh, well, it's a better draft pick. So I'm going into this game and I'm like, look, the Broncos have a pretty good defense, right? That's better than the Chargers. You saw what they just did to the Cowboys. And I think that, we could definitely, we don't want to get swept in the AFC West, right? We lost to the Raiders, the Chiefs, and the Chargers. So let's go out. And, we're going to Denver there, man. It's going to be a tough game. But I think, with their starting tackles out, they've got 3 linemen out. I think we need to get some pressure. That's where we're lacking. The defense has been very questionable. So I want to see the defense pick it up now, but still excited about this game, Mitch.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to talk about the defense real quick for this past couple of games. I'm not including the Lions because that's the Detroit Lions. So I'm just like, where's the blitzing? Where's the changing? And I'm like, what is Jonathan Gannon doing? And how do you feel about Jonathan Gannon right now?
Well, one of the weird things is, he did blitz a couple times, but I'm with you. You got to bring some pressure. And I always preach, it begins up front, but we haven't been getting any pressure. And I think, you talk about you hear people saying like, well, it's Jonathan Gannon, or, oh, he doesn't have the right players for the scheme. Well, the thing I've been saying is, well, if you don't have the right players for the scheme, then you don't have the right scheme. Because honestly, these guys, you wonder, like Fletcher Cox dropping back in coverage there. Sometimes you're seeing things and you're like, this dude needs to be attacking the quarterback. We need to be getting double teams here. I just think there's a lot of things that Jonathan Gannon is trying to figure out. And I get it. The lack of linebackers. I like Davian Taylor, TJ Edwards promised the young guys. I like a lot of the talent we have. We're trying to grow, and we know we need to focus on that in the draft next year. Right now, it's like, okay, Gannon, we don't know if you're going to last more than a year. It's been very questionable. I'm trying to be patient with him. I really have been, but it's just very questionable a lot of times when he's running a certain zone or doing something where you're like, what are you doing? You got to press somebody. And look, I know that this is his first time as a defensive coordinator. I find it concerning, and that's where my one concern is. So at this point, if that's my one concern, okay, at least I can focus on what the problem is. Okay, it's the defensive coordinator kind of, it seems. There is a lack of talent. We can draft. We can always hire a new D coordinator. But what's really important is the head coach and quarterback for me. So as much as I hate that Gannon's struggling, I'm going to hold on to hope that maybe he figures something out. I don't know, but it's not looking great for him, Mitch.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to stick on the defensive side of the ball and just talk about the linebacking core. Because for me, that's like the biggest blow. And we still have Derek Barnett, who has more penalties than sacks in his career. So I'm like, what is with this linebacker? I mean, we just got rid of Eric Wilson, who I thought it was a great pick at the time. And it was just like, now we can't cover anybody. We can't tackle.
Well, the linebacking core, that was something, man. That's something that's been stressed from the fans, the media, because the Eagles don't put an emphasis on the linebacking core. So it's like, what are we doing here? Now, going into this year, I talked about, dear God, we better go get a linebacker. Well, we had Davian Taylor. We know that he's raw. He's got a lot of athleticism, and, he needs to work on his tackling, his coverage. There's things we know that in time, hopefully he figures out. And I really like the promise of Davian Taylor. I'm glad he's healthy now. The last few weeks, I talked about, watch out. Singleton and Wilson are losing their jobs to Taylor and Edwards. We're going to get the young guys some reps. And sure enough, you saw the decline. And then all of a sudden, Wilson gets waived, as you had mentioned. So I saw it coming as Wilson, not the greatest in coverage. And he struggled in tackling weirdly for us. And that wasn't something I thought that he would do. But, we wanted to give the young guys more reps. And I was okay with that. But I'm not okay with the fact that we're just here at this point. You know what I mean? I'm okay with letting the young guys, because we got to figure it out. But how it's not hard to figure out. You need to use one of those first round picks on an effing linebacker. Mitch, you got to do it, or I'm going to lose my mind. I think we're all going to lose our minds if we don't get a linebacker.
Yeah. Now, including the draft, I mean, do you trust Howie Roseman with those draft picks?
The past couple years, I thought that we got some pretty decent picks. This past year, I thought he did really great. And going into this draft, I was very skeptical. I think we all were, and everybody will bring up DK Metcalf, Justin Jefferson, and I get it. But there's a million players we could sit here and name right now that we've passed on, and I hate it. But the fact of the matter is, the other picks that he did make, there are some ones that are very questionable. Arcega-Whiteside and Reagor right now really struggling. But you look at this year's draft, oh my Lord, he said he learned from his mistakes. Well, okay, let's see what you learned. He goes after, he gets Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, two huge pieces for the future, Milton Williams, Kenny Gainwell. I like Zach McPherson in there too. We'll see what he can become for the secondary, but he gets to learn under Slay and Nelson. I like that. And I really enjoyed this draft. I did. And I liked what he did with the cap. And I like that this year's draft is really set up well. We have 3 possible first round picks, and we've got loads of cap space coming our way. So I think he did well. But I'm still scared to death, Mitch. I'll be real with you. It is Howie Roseman, and I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be like, okay, we've got 3-round picks, so it's first round pick, so it's really exciting. But it's like, oh my God, you could really mess this up, couldn't you? And so I am scared. Don't trade them for a veteran quarterback. I think I'm hopeful for Hurts. I'm sure you want to get into that then, but I hope we can build around him. But those first round picks, I'd really love to stack this defense.
Yeah, so do I. And guys, we're also on the Spotlight Sports Network's YouTube page. So and we're also on their Facebook and Twitter and Twitch, all of that. And if you want to become a member, the link is right here in the chat. You can just go there and become a member. Just please do that. They're a great group. And what is up, Backyard Birds Podcast? How's it going, Jerry? And how's it going, Bryan? How's it going, man? So, you brought up Jalen Hurts. Might as well just talk about it now. I've been talking about this with other Eagles content creators and some people off YouTube. Is Jalen Hurts the guy going forward, you think?
I was just a guest on a show last night, and they dropped that one on me too. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, let me tell you, I cannot answer that question 13 games into his career. But I can give you, do I think he can be? Yes. I still think there is hope there, because what scared me this season was the fact that this dude is throwing the ball over 30 times, and that is not his fault. That's Sirianni putting him in a position to do that and giving him the RPOs, which are considered run plays. What? Yeah. So he's passing a lot, and you're putting too much pressure on this kid. He needs time to develop. Look at what happened for Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. When they were given time to develop, they came into the league and people knew they were raw. Well, that's fine. He has done everything he could. He went out, Quincy Avery, a quarterback guru, got some coaching from him, went to the Bro Barn, Lane Johnson's Bro Barn, learned from Gabe Wrangle. He's doing everything he can to be the best. So what I wanted to see this season was improvements each week. Now, does he still have those missed throws? Sure. But I also watch other football games where I see Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. I see Trevor Lawrence, first pick this year, missing wide open throws. So I think a lot of people are just waiting to nitpick things, and they're, oh, you see all those bad. And it's like, yeah, but I see a lot of what the good he is doing. And I see it, when he's fighting back, and I see people, it's garbage time. Dude, some of it is, sure. But he's a proven leader. This dude is a fighter. And I think he gets me excited for the future. If he can keep developing the way that he, obviously is with his reads, he needs to work on that and his accuracy at times, but just the way he uses his legs in certain situations. And obviously that can also come back to hurt you, because if you're leaving too early, so he's got to learn to be more of a pocket passer. But going into the season, Mitch, this is what we talked about expecting from Jalen Hurts. We just need to see it get better by week. So it's funny, as you start running the ball, things get easier for Jalen Hurts and things start looking better for he and Sirianni.
Yeah. And I was doing some research on Jalen Hurts a couple of days ago. His completion percentage is actually decent at like 65%. Yeah, and I'm good. Like, okay, I thought it was much lower. I'm actually happy with that, with 65%.
Right. Yeah. I think like I was just mentioning, people nitpick a lot. And look, I get it, and maybe Howie and Jeffrey are doing the same thing. So that's scary. You don't know if they're going to give him that next year. I think he should have. But regardless of what I feel, I think that, this kid has actually been pretty surprising. And when you see the praise from people like Merrill Reese and things like that, you're like, oh, you know what? Like, they've seen every quarterback and ones we've never even heard of. We've heard of them because we're diehards, but other people haven't heard of, but it's like, look, man, I think Jalen Hurts is in a tough city, and they're going to hold everything, everything he does, he's going to be accountable for. And that's okay. I think he's tough as nails. He's not like someone previously that wanted to walk away when things got hard. I think this guy is ready to take on the challenge, and I'm very excited to keep watching him grow, man. Yeah. But what an impressive passer rating. Great point.
Yeah, I'm just shocked. And I'm just like, we talked about the run the ball, and we got Jordan Howard. We just signed him to the active roster yesterday. And I'm like, why didn't we do this in the beginning of the season? Why now? It's like, that makes no sense to me. I'm the guy that's like, Jordan Howard's the best blocking guy. He's the pounce, like 2nd and 1, you give it to him. 3rd and goal, you give it to him. So I'm like, now you sign him? How do you feel about that?
Man, well, I feel great that he signed, but breaking it down, like you were saying, why? Now, at the beginning of the season, I warned that we probably wouldn't have him on the initial 53-man roster, because my thought process is money. They're always looking at the money. So for someone like Jordan Howard, if he's not on that active roster, if he is on that active roster week 1, his contract is fully guaranteed. If he's past week 2, then he's only given a portion of like 25% of the fully contract guarantee. So I think that money's always an issue. But after that second week, I was like, oh, okay, well, now we're going to bring him up, right? And then he wasn't. And I'm like, okay, so we're using Miles and Kenny. And then it was like, oh, so we're just not running the ball. And then it was like, oh, we're not, nobody's getting used. We're not going to run the ball. And then Miles, we were finally like, okay, we're going to run the ball against the Raiders. And then all of a sudden you hand the ball, this guy gets hurt, and you're like, God help me. So we know that it's going back to pass heavy. Sure enough, it does. And we're like, please God, against the Lions, don't do this. Now, you said, you're not going to count the Lions. What I said, the only way I count the Lions is if you beat them by 25 plus points and you put up 35 plus. We put up 44 points, beat them by 38. I was ecstatic. So I was like, okay, if you can build on that, continue to run the ball. So what did we do last week? We still ran that ball, man. So I was actually really excited. We stayed in that game with a really tough team, the Chargers. So I was impressed there. But Jordan Howard, man, how can you not have him on this roster? I'm so pissed. I thought with Nick Sirianni coming here, the way he did with the Colts, we were going to have running back by committee. I thought Jordan Howard, like you said, the best blocking one. He can actually catch the ball. He can run the ball, power back. I mean, damn, why wouldn't you have him on the roster? These other guys are little guys, and not to take away from what they could do, just saying Jordan Howard's the most powerful dude there. So I thought he should be there. Look what he's done in 2 games, man. What's he have? 29 rushes, 128 yards. That's 4.4 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns in those 2 games. I love it, man. I'm ecstatic to have him back.
Yeah. And apparently, I just found this, like, as I was recording my video. Nick Sirianni says for a defense having to try tackle Jordan Howard 17 times a game will wear them down. So where was that all season?
Dude, I thought Nick Sirianni was all about, and I'm still being patient with him, but I thought we were accentuating the players' skill sets. We're gonna do what fits them. Well, pretty sure that's what fits Jordan Howard. What you just said right there. You pound that rock, you tire the defense down. I mean, that's what I've been preaching for years, not even just the weeks. And it's like, because we know what the past regimes have done, getting away from the run, and we're like, oh, we're safe now. This guy runs the ball. We saw it in Indy. Now you're like, oh my God, this is not happening. So past few weeks, we've been trying to run the ball, continue. And look, the Broncos are like 9th in rushing yards allowed per game. I don't care. You still have to run that ball, run it. So glad to have Jordan here.
Yeah. Howard came into the season scrapping for his future. He came hungry. Of course he did. Of course. I mean, we had Boston Scott. He didn't get the ball, like, at all. Like, I always joked, is he the guy that we just have against the Giants? Like, is that the only reason why he's here? Like,
giant killer.
Yeah, that's exactly why. I'm like, is that the only reason? And then go back to Jordan Howard. Hopefully the running game, it keeps going, and he gets 17 times a carry. I mean, 17 carries a game. I don't even think he might even get that, honestly.
Yeah, what did he have? Like 16? Because he had in the week prior, I think he had 12. So then he had 16 maybe last week.
Yeah, something like that.
Or 17 maybe, right? I'm sorry.
It was around there, yeah.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. So literally, I think that you have to run the ball, and you have a committee now that works with, Boston Scott did sprinkle in those couple games, but he gets outshined by how well Jordan Howard looks, but a healthy dose of these guys just keep pounding the rock. And Miles Sanders posted on Instagram that he's back. So I know that means that he's trying to get off IR. I'm not sure if that means he's already going to be ready, but when we get him back, you need to continue running the ball, but you also need to continue using Jordan Howard. Miles Sanders has proven over and over again, and I love the kid, but he gets injured a lot, and he can't handle that full workload. So use that running back by committee. We all thought you were going to. And if you want to sprinkle Gainwell in every once in a while for a passing down, I get it. But use Howard, use Miles Sanders, please.
Yeah, I mean, here's another thing, too, I've been hearing. Ever since Miles Sanders went down with that injury, we just started picking up the running. Like, automatically, we would start picking up the running. Is that something, like, is there a conspiracy here, or am I just, like, losing my mind?
Well, I think that, he finally got it in the Raiders game, because if you saw, Miles Sanders was running that ball, and well, it was like 6 carries, 30 yards, and he was moving the ball well, and then he gets hurt. So I think we were going to run the ball with him in that game. We didn't have Jordan Howard in that game, and I just think it got away from us. We had to try to play catch up, and we didn't run the ball, but I think they still knew they had to continue doing that. So, but it is funny. A lot of people bring that up, hey, why are we running the ball now? But it's like, I think, if you watch the beginning of that Raiders game, we were. But yeah, it's definitely nuts. What's going on, Bird Gang? And everybody else that said, what's up?
Yeah, what's up, Bird Gang? How you doing, man? I got to get you on the channel again soon. But other than that, let's go to Donte Smith. Last game, he had a good game. So how do you feel he's doing this season so far, his rookie year?
Oh, man, I am a huge fan of Donte Smith. that's somebody, we talk about my buddy Gail from Fourth and John. I work for those guys. I write and also co-host over there. I wrote an article this offseason. All of the writers got to pick a player that they wanted who was the guy for the Eagles. And I took Donte Smith. And that's somebody, if anybody who follows me knows, throughout that whole college season, I am a huge fan of Donte Smith. So not an Alabama fan. What's going on, Mike? But I was just dreaming of Donte Smith. And, I wrote this article in depth about what I felt about him, what he could do for this team, what he could do for Jalen Hurts or Carson Wentz, whoever it was, because at the time we didn't know. So talk about what it meant for this team having a true number one wide receiver. I didn't feel that Chase or Pitts would be there. Both great players, but I just didn't think they would. At the time, we had to pick 6. Now, when we moved back, a lot of people were, why are we doing that? Well, we can still get a stud, still have a first-round pick from the Dolphins. Well, not only do we do that, we move back in the top 10. We only have to give up a third-round pick and your first. Then you get Donte Smith. He has been awesome. I think that he honestly, there's times where he's wide open and hurts, missing that he's wide open or just missing the throw. But there have been drops by Donte, and there have been things that, people want to try to nitpick. But I think this kid is, as I wrote in that article, one of the purest route runners I've ever watched since like Marvin Harrison, man. And this kid has got hands and he's got all the moves, and they talk about he's too skinny. Dude, I don't want to hear any of it. And when we got him, I lost my mind. And watching him, dude, I got my Smith jersey hanging up. I had to buy it because obviously my last name's Smith. I've had an LJ Smith, a Torrey Smith, so now we got ourselves a Donte. But no, I think we have ourselves a stud for the future, a true number one wide receiver, and he's only going to get better. And that's insane because he is so good. And I think what it needs to do, though, is Hurts needs to keep progressing, and it needs to make Quez Watkins and Jalen Reagor better. They need to get fed more, and I want to see this passing attack take off.
Yeah, so do I. And to go with Donte Smith, how do you feel about his body frame? Does that bother you at all? Because I'm still hearing from on Twitter all this stuff. He's a twig. He's going to get injured and stuff like that. How do you feel about his body frame?
I think a lot of people, once again, nitpicking and grasping for straws, because if they watch the tape and they watch what he does to people, that size means absolutely nothing. His handwork, his footwork, everything he does, it means nothing because these guys can't stick on him. And you can try to tough him up, but I'm telling you, he's blasting past these guys and he's only going to get better at that. So I'm just really excited about, because here's the thing. People think, he's just this little guy. He's never going to get bigger. You do realize he's just a young man. And he is going, and I'm not saying he's ever going to be David Boston out here, but I'm just saying that I think he's going to get stronger in his game, not just necessarily what he looks like, but he's only going to get stronger. And that's something that is a very minuscule thing to what he's doing, because he still catches it over the middle. He's still making tough contested catches. He's a tough dude for his size.
Yeah, he's really good. The way we got Donte was awesome. Yeah, I was live streaming the draft and I was recording the action on my phone. And I'm like, we actually got him. I still can't believe it. But there's another rookie wide receiver that's doing great, and that's Ja'Marr Chase. So let's say we were up there. Would you taking Ja'Marr Chase there, or would you sticking with Donte Smith there?
Woo, that's a great question. I think that for me, Ja'Marr Chase is just ungodly, and I think that I probably would have went with Ja'Marr Chase too if I were the Bengals. I think that was just the proven commodity, and having Donte Smith with that weight maybe was a little bit scarier. So if I'm in that position, I'm probably taking Ja'Marr Chase. But either way, whichever one I get, I'm going to be ecstatic. And that was kind of my thing when I talked about Donte Smith. Hey, look, if we could get Ja'Marr Chase, I'm happy with it. But I'm also very happy if we get this kid. I think that, they're both going to be two of the top guys we watched for a very long time. But Ja'Marr Chase, my fantasy team is very thankful to have him.
I have Ja'Marr Chase too.
Him and Devontae on the same team. So it's been very interesting. Yeah.
I got Ja'Marr Chase, Diggs. I just picked up Deshaun Jackson, Kadarius Toney, I think, and that's it. But yeah,
I've got literally young men, and usually I go for the vets, and I usually do well. This year I'm struggling, and I'm like, I shouldn't have gone running backs. I have Kamara and Jones, and it's been interesting because I've got all young receivers: Chase, Smith, Waddle, and it's bad. Oh, I have Odell Beckham, which I was hoping would go to a team that would throw to him. Now, God help us all.
Well, since you brought up Odell, hey Mitch, did you hear about Odell signing with the Rams? I did. We talked about this a little bit before we started this live stream. Let's hear it again. What do you think about OBJ to the Rams?
That's pretty wild. I think his dad's going to be pretty busy editing video about times that his son is open and not getting the ball because, well, they've got a lot of weapons over there in LA. And I thought he wanted to go somewhere where he was going to get the ball more. But hey, maybe he thought, hey, actually, I think I'd like a ring instead. So I understand that move. And if the Rams don't win the Super Bowl this year, man, that's bad because they are stacked, man.
Yeah. I'm still shocked. I wanted him to go to Seattle because Russell Wilson was coming back. Can you imagine Odell with DK Metcalf on the east side? I thought that'd be nice, but
and yeah, those two and Lockett, that would be pretty scary, man. Definitely. It's scary right now with Cup and Woods, and they've got the young guy, Van Jefferson. Oh, Lord.
Who's their tight end? I'm going to blank.
Higbee.
That was it. I knew it started with an H. But yeah, what is up, Hopkins? How you doing, man? Judy is nice too. Yeah. I gotta agree with that.
Oh, I like Jerry Judy. Yeah.
Oh, you do? What do you like about him?
Oh man, now that year was nuts, right? We were talking about Ruggs, CeeDee Lamb, and Jerry Judy, but then you've got Reagor and Justin Jefferson in that back end. So those first three go, and then it's like I didn't really think Jefferson would be there. I still can't believe it. I wanted Reagor, but I wanted us to trade back and do that. He has definitely not lived up to it yet, and I hope that he figures it out. But Jerry Judy, now that is when I talked about him, that is another route runner. I mean, Alabama puts out some of the, nicest route running dudes. I mean, they've got great coaches there, but I think that kid is not only what I call him, the jack of all trades. He's got those hands, he's tough, and he's long, man. He's got that stride. He doesn't. A lot of people were saying he wasn't the fastest. It's like I would have been so happy if we got Jerry Judy. I'll be real with you, but I'm still happy with Devontae Smith this year. That year, obviously, everybody wants Justin Jefferson, but I try not to be Captain Hindsight too much. I try to have hope in the guys we do have.
Yeah. I mean, I'm getting really mad about Reagor right now. I mean, he's not a bust, I think. Do you think he's on a road to being a bust, or we still got to wait and see?
You have to wait and see. See, for me, as somebody that played wide receiver, and I never made it anywhere, I'm just saying I played the position, and I understand that, there's certain things that made me fall in love with the position. So what I did was, since I played it, I followed them much closer than any position. One thing I've noticed about the wide receiver is it takes some time every now and again. Not everybody comes out like Justin Jefferson. So now this is a new age where you see some younger guys doing well, but a few of these guys, if you give them a 3-year window, I think Nelson Aguilar was the guy I talked about in 2017. And when you go figure, it was the year he went off, and I had some cojones to put it on the line there, and people were like, and he helped us get that Super Bowl. So Reagor, to me, I think it stinks that obviously Justin Jefferson's doing so well, and we have to sit there and see that. But if you look at it from where he's at, he was finally getting utilized in that Raiders game. They were running the ball with him. They were getting the ball to him. Got to get him the ball in open space. I think that he is capable of doing a lot of things. I still think he has that talent, and he's actually a lot tougher. You saw in that game where he went up and got it. Sorry, that was the Raiders game where he went up and got that pass at the end there. Yeah. I thought that was awesome, and that's something he can actually do, and I've seen him do it. And I think he's got a lot of talent. I think losing his friend definitely messed with his mental space this offseason, and a lot of the fans love to harass him personally on his social media. I hate that stuff, but people will do that, and it's like, this dude just lost his best friend, and I'm trying to, show support to this kid and have patience, and you just want to see them do well. They're human beings, so it stinks that he's not Justin Jefferson, because that's what everybody's comparing him to, and they're going to, and that sucks. But I think with Devontae Smith here, that was what I wrote in that article. Having him here, that allows Jalen Reagor to not have to be the guy, and he can really be a great number 2. And you have Quez Watkins, who I feel could be a great number 3. That trio right there is awesome. But I think, for me, if you add a veteran, big-bodied receiver, or go draft a big-bodied receiver, I think a veteran would help just to get these younger guys, somebody in the room there that could help them along. I think next year that's got to be key. But I'm still very hopeful for Jalen Reagor. I don't think you can call him a bust yet. This is just the second year. And look at what everyone else is going through on these teams with the new coaches, the new offensive line, the quarterbacks. You know what I mean? It's all different. So I'm going to give him some time. But yeah, it has not lived up to any kind of expectation that people were hoping for.
Yeah, and one of my good friends, he's a partner in my podcast that we do from time to time. He wants Rager to go to running back, and I'm like,
I can't do that.
He's not Cordell Patterson, man.
No. I see. There's a thing I've heard, and hey, your friend is not alone. I've heard plenty of people say that to me. And here's the thing: he is not built. He is not that guy. He is not Cordell Patterson. He is not going to be a running back. But you can use him in those trick plays, like a Deebo Samuel, those end arounds, all those misdirection plays to keep a defense on their feet. You don't know where this kid's going to get the ball in space. You make him scare the defense. So I think last game he was hurt, but he played anyway just to kind of be that decoy because defenses know he does have talent.
Yeah, he does. He's got the speed. Like, our wide receiving core is fast. Like, it's really fast. And Watkins, people are saying, I agree with this, that he's faster than Tyreek Hill, and he's not even getting the ball. Like,
he should.
How do you think about Watkins?
Oh, I'm a huge Quez Watkins fan, man. And the thing for me is I'm a fan of Reagor and I'm a fan of Smith. So I can't sit here and say one should be this, that. I think all of them need to be utilized. And it's all of them are missing plays, action, where it's like, he was open on this play. There was a missed throw here. So it's a lot of, whether it's Sirianni's play calling, whether it's Jalen Hurts missing the throw, there's a lot of things that just keep needing to be worked on. And that is it's going to hurt. And I've talked about that. And I warned this offseason, this is going to be a rough year. And we have to stay patient. We have to see how this develops. And what I was saying earlier in the video is this is the time. Now we've got the run game going. Okay, Jalen? Now we're making things easy for you. Now let's get that play action set up. Let's see some bombs to some of those speedy receivers Mitch just mentioned here, especially Quez Watkins. So let's get Quez that ball. Let's get Reagor that ball. Let's get Smith that ball. We've got nothing but speed, and we could really hurt some people with and there were some secondaries we faced that were banged up. I thought we would. That's unacceptable, and I'd love to see more from all of them.
Yeah.
Watkins, for sure.
Yeah, need to target Watkins more. And I want to bring up Jalen Hurts back because he's not looking for the wide open things. I know it's his second year, but to me, it's like these guys are wide open. I mean, should we still wait for him to develop? Because I'm right there with you if you agree to that, wait for him to develop more.
Oh, yeah. And the thing, people don't realize, and I'm glad you're there with me, Mitch, because you got to give it time. It's 13 games here. That's not even a full season. So the 4 games he had last year, and for the people that stand still for the guy in Indy, it's like, look, you guys know that even he wasn't successful in that offense. This kid comes in and beats the number 1 defense at the time, the Saints, in his first start. He brought a spark. He brought something. He showed that he had fight, and he made the other guys, when you got like a buff in a video game, he makes everybody around you better. You know what I mean? That's what that dude is. And I thought it was impressive. And then this year they flipped the script. They changed the coaching staff. All these things are different for him. But I think the one thing I try to bring light to that people miss out on is Jalen Hurts in those 13 games has had 9 different starting offensive lines. That's insane. So he's always dealing with some kind of adversity. Every single week, there's something different. There's this. We're not running the ball. He's throwing the ball 30 plus times. He is not the kind of quarterback that is there yet. It took time for Josh Allen. It took time for Lamar Jackson. And I am not saying he is them, but you have to be patient. Those organizations were patient, and I'm hopeful that we will be patient with Jalen Hurts because there is something there. You just got to get it out of him, and I think he's going to work to get that out of himself.
Yeah, for me, Jalen Hurts is a great game time manager, and he's a great leader. I mean, we traded I almost said Watkins. We traded Wentz for Jalen Hurts to play, and oh my God, I can't speak. Jalen Hurts is doing all right. I think he's doing good. I'll give him a B- C+ right now. Like, what do you expect more from the kid? He only threw 4 interceptions this season. 4. And I'm like, you have Mahomes who's throwing 10. I have him in fantasy. That sucks. But it's just like, he's doing good. He's honestly doing good, better than I thought, honestly. Like, is he improving your expectations right now?
I think for me, and I went into this season very hopeful for him because I followed along with his journey, got to interview his chef, his personal trainer. I got to get the down low, and they were
Oh,
telling me stories about him up at 4 a.m. Like the things, how detailed he is about what he eats, how he sleeps, how he walks throughout the day. Like this guy wants to be the best. And I mean, he's a Terminator out here, dude. I feel it got me even more excited. So this offseason, I was like, all right, what I have to do to myself is so I don't get pissed off is when he starts making mistakes, realize that he's definitely going to make these mistakes because he obviously wasn't this kind of quarterback we want from him in college, right? You know, he obviously need to be more of a pocket passer. We need him to learn some things. So we got to give him that time. The only way you're going to learn that is you can go to as many trainers, as many things as you want to do. But the only way you truly are going to learn is on that field. So he's got to get it in the action. And I think I've seen, you know, the first half, obviously this past game, couple missed throws that maybe want to punch myself in the face. But then he comes back in the second half and he is throwing rockets, dude. And I'm like, whoa, if he does this, if he hones in and learns to do this while he's got that dual threat capability, and when you have a dual threat quarterback, you should be running the ball all the time anyway. Look at the Ravens. They pound that rock. You never know what's coming at you. That play action hits you and you're doomed. I think, man, we should really be swaying toward becoming a running team and make that something that really benefits Jalen Hurts.
yeah. I think him not giving up the ball gives him a golden ticket.
How about
I mean, I agree. Because
Doesn't fumble.
For me, honestly, I thought it was more than 4 interceptions. I thought it was a lot more. And this guy, another Eagle content creator, way behind, he thinks that Jalen Hurts is the guy. So he's a Jalen Hurts fan right there. And I respect that. I really do. I can't stand the people that are like nitpicking each thing. I just can't stand it. We know this season going forward, like you said in the beginning. We knew. And people are like, okay, we're doing this. Jalen Hurts got to go. Howie Roseman got to go. Jeffrey Lurie's got to go. I mean, obviously, those two need to go, don't you think?
Well, you know, and here's the thing. You know, a lot of people, it's always each week, it's everybody's pointing fingers somewhere. And it's half the time, it's where's the media taking them? Because they're pointing fingers at somebody each week. And for me, I think what I was very adamant about last year was it starts at the top. You know, you want to be mad at this guy, that guy, that guy. We got to be mad at Jeffrey Lurie for allowing Howie Roseman to do the things he did for years, for allowing him to have precedent over the scouts, for him to be telling coaches what to do. What? That should not be happening. So that's Jeffrey Lurie's fault, first and foremost.
Yeah.
Now, this is his team. So I can't, you know, say you need to get rid of your team. I just think you need to stop trying to be Jerry Jones, sit the F back, and let the people you hire do the jobs that you hired them to do. Now, if those people aren't doing that job correctly, Howie Roseman, they need to be on the hot seat, and you need to let them know. I feel that happened this past season. I think he told them, look, if you don't kill these next 2 drafts, you got to work with what you get for Wentz and everything else. Let's see what you do with it. If not, I think he's gone. So I think he did well this year. But this is the year coming up, Mitch. You have 3 first-round picks, possibly could be 2 second rounds, 2 first, we know. But you've got 10 picks total. 10 picks, and we all know it could be 45 by the time the draft gets here. It could be 2. We all know Howie Roseman's always wheeling and dealing. So we'll see. But you've got to hit. You've got to keep building. And I think these next couple of years are about retooling. So staying patient allows me to stay patient with Jalen Hurts and the rest of these young guys.
Yeah. So I do hold Jalen under a microscope because we are evaluating him.
Me too.
But before we get into that, describe your channel and describe what you do, man. Like, talk about your channel.
Sure. Well, you know, I had mentioned earlier in the video a few years ago, almost passed away. Was laying there in my deathbed having a horrible time reading these articles and watching the TV and listening to people just with what we're talking about right here. Just the hot takes, the garbage, just talking out their behinds here, Mitch. And I didn't like it. So it was upsetting me. And I didn't want to go down like that. Now, as I get out of the hospital, recuperating, I've got a wonderful girlfriend. She pushes me, why don't you start like, you know, a little blog or a group on Facebook, something, use social media, because I was stuck in bed. So I couldn't do anything. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to use it for good. So I'm going to create my own brand. So this is 2017. So I named it On the Road to Victory, right? Yeah. Fighting for my life. It's my favorite part of the chant. I wanted to, you know, keep it going. So it happened to be a pretty wild year, right? Yeah, so Carson Wentz goes down. And I told people at the beginning of the year, you know, my guys were Nick Foles, Aguilar. I remember my rookie to watch was Corey Clement. And we get to that point, and I just remember, look, we just got to have hope that these guys are going to persevere. And I thought Nick Foles was the perfect backup. Came in. I got a lot of hate for that, saying that we'd win the Super Bowl. Called into Mike Missinelli. He hung up on me, was very mad. Hey, we win the Super Bowl. And I've just felt, okay, this is destiny, right? So I'm going to keep this going. So I kept building it. And so I had on, I've got like, I think Mark McMillan was my first player I got on. So I was like, I'm going to start reaching out, getting players. And then I got Derek Gunn on. I started getting like Eagles players in media. And I just wanted to share some brotherly love, but also not talk about football, with people that really just want to talk about football, because there's so much going on in the world. And I just want to talk about my Eagles, man. And, the thing is, though, I also want to talk about things with people if there's something going on with them, because I almost passed away and I dealt with depression and anxiety, thinking I was going to die, and just so much going on. So I always extend my hand to people every night in my show that, I want to be there for you as you guys are for me that watch my channel. So always provide daily news every single day. We go through, and weeks like this, like I'll do like a behind enemy lines. We talked about the Denver Broncos roster. Then we'll do the stats, the standings. I'm a nut, man. I want to know everything about our opponent. Then I do the top 10 matchups, stuff like that. So yeah, it's called On the Road to Victory with Jimmy Smith on YouTube. I use Twitter. You can see the handle there. Facebook. I mean, I just try to share that brotherly love. So when you reach out to me, man, it was great to meet another diehard Eagles fan and, do this. But that's what it's all about for me, man. I just want to bring some love and peace to this world, because I went through some really tough times, and I know what it's like to feel like when you're down. And I just try to share a positive message and love my birds. And people are like, wait, what? You're telling me you were on your deathbed and you used your Eagles to get better? And I was like, I know. I thought they were going to kill me. But, it worked out differently. We won the Super Bowl, and I'm like, whoa. So we keep it going every day, man. Every night I make time, no matter what's going on with work, life, family. I always make a time to, talk about the birds every day for somebody who needs that escape.
Right. And guys, please subscribe to him. His link is in the description below. You see his Twitter right there. So just please give this guy a follow, subscribe. A great guy. I love talking birds with him so far.
And anybody who's watching from my show, because I tweeted it as soon as you put it out, I retweeted it. You guys definitely give Mitch a follow, a retweet, and definitely subscribe to his YouTube channel, because Mitch, this has been awesome. You're an awesome dude.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. So let's get back into the good stuff. I do hold Jalen under a microscope because we are evaluating him. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing, you think, to evaluate his every single move? Is that a good thing?
Are you looking at the microscope with a great lens and your glasses on, or are you looking at it inebriated and you don't know what you're seeing? And I'm not saying Backyard Birds podcast is saying that. What I'm saying is a lot of people are getting out of control about the things they see under this microscope. For me, I look at everything under a microscope. I want to know every little detail, and I take all of it with a grain of salt, because stats and numbers and this and that, they don't mean everything. But you take it all with a grain of salt. You see the situations. You see what's going down. For me, I'm watching every single move that Jalen Hurts, and I'm still, to this day, I talk to his trainer and his chef, and I am finding out what he is doing. I got to go to that game at the Chiefs with them. I got to sit with them, and it was quite the experience, just talking about the guys that go to the Bro Barn, Lane Johnson, Jalen, and just I think that they know everyone's watching, and Jalen Hurts embraces that. I heard something Gabe Rangel told me from the Bro Barn. He said one of the first times he was working with Jalen on ESPN, they were talking at the time about the Eagles should trade for Deshaun Watson. Jalen Hurts is not a good quarterback. He's not good. The season hadn't started yet. He was bad, this, that. And Gabe went to turn off the TV. He was like, oh, let me shut that off for you. And Jalen said, no, leave it on. And he just went through his workout listening to these dudes talking crap about him. And I was just like, whoa, dude. Like there's something about him. But I agree with you. You should look under the microscope, but understand what you're watching. 13 games in, 9 different offensive lines, 2 different head coaches. I think that this kid, there's something special there. I do believe he is going to be the guy if he is given the opportunity with Howie and Nick Sirianni, all those things. So right now I see Nick doing those things I needed to see by running the ball. So, okay, we're building a path for him to be successful. I truly think he can be that guy. I do.
Okay. I mean, I've been hearing like he's got to go. It just drives me crazy. And you know what bothers me the most? People are calling his rookie season still. And I'm like, it's not his rookie year. Like, that kills me the most.
Well, I think for me, it is a weird thing because last year was one of the weirdest years ever because of COVID, right?
Right,
So he
good.
didn't really have any preseason. It was the weirdest training camp. So I didn't like it. And then he gets thrown into the fire of a team that was already complete garbage. He somehow gets us a win against the Saints. And then it was just like, whoa, what the heck? But yeah, it's not his rookie season. It's definitely his second year. But I think when you're looking at things under that microscope, look at the fact that, oh, well, 13 games would not equal a full season. So he really hasn't got that playing time to learn. And some guys take a couple years. So I'm okay with if he's learning. Now, if he's out there still missing throws, being horrible, if he didn't do what he did in the second half, I'm a little more concerned. But he has shown improvement. I just want to see that at the beginning of games. So I think in time that will hopefully come.
That's another point I want to bring up as well, because honestly, it's 4 quarters for a reason. So
Yeah.
you got, what about the first, second, third, and then now you started to do everything? Like, I don't understand what's going on with that. I mean, it's a diehard Philly thing, I guess, right? We come back behind on the road to victory. Like,
Yeah, man. I like that. I like that. I just think, with the new coaching staff, we're going to have some of that stuff. But what I talk about is I want to see accountability and I want to see them adjusting. So if you're coming back, that means you're adjusting unless it's garbage time. But I don't want to have to adjust at times. I want your game plan to work. And, if at the beginning of the season when they weren't adjusting, they were just trying to stick. It was like, what it reminds me of, oh, that's right. He's a rookie head coach. So this guy's never done this before. The offensive coordinator's never done it before. Defensive coordinator's never done it. Special teams, they're all new. I thought we should have brought in maybe a coach that, had been a head coach, somebody with some experience, but we went all young guns and we've got young guns on the team. So you're going to see a lot of bumpy roads, just a lot of miscommunication because they're all very new to what they're doing. And this is the NFL, man. This is where the big boys play. So I'm just hopeful that in time, because we know with the prior coaching staff, development was a huge issue. So let's just hope we actually can develop some of this young talent. And we're coming out next year, we get some stud big receiver, and we're like, oh my God, we have Devontae Smith, Rager, Watkins, and this big receiver with Miles Sanders. I don't know, Jordan Howard. You've got these backs. I mean, and then you drafted a defense that's just studs. I mean, this team isn't too far from being successful in my mind if you just keep building correctly around them.
Yeah, I try to keep it real. I tell my opinion at the time. I talk it to my friends and listen to everyone's ideas, which is the right way to go. It is. I can't stand the people who give their take, don't listen to everyone else, and it's like, we're going to win 14-3. I'm like, where is that coming from?
Well, and Mitch, a lot of it is, it's, a lot of I talked about with people this preseason was it's one side or the other. You're one extreme to the other. Like, we're either going to the Super Bowl or this team's the worst ever. We got to trade everyone. And it's like, can we just find that patience? And look, I'm 35. It took me a very long time. It took a near-death experience for me to finally find some patience. But I agree with Backyard Bird Podcast. That's what gets me by every single day. Having a differing opinion, talking with people. And that's what my show is all about. And that's why I was so happy to come on with Mitch, because I always love talking about the birds because I know there's other people that have differing opinions out there. And for me, it's about explaining what I've seen, because just like, Backyard Birds here, I watch every single thing I can, and then I rewatch it, and then I rewatch it, and I want to know everything because I truly love my birds with all my heart. So I'm with you.
Yeah, there's a lot of egos to view things from. So, sometimes you have to change your view and admit when you're in the wrong. Of course. I mean,
anybody should admit when they're wrong. Yeah, you should always admit when you're wrong. And there's definitely a lot of people already this year admitting that they're wrong.
What's up, JC? Yo, guys, if you want a chance to talk to him, hit him up on Twitter. I'm sure he's happy to talk to you guys, birds and stuff.
I'm going on Bird Gang show here this week, and he's one of and I have every day filled this week. I've been on JC's show, but I appreciate you, man. You're the man. But yeah, anybody, feel free to reach out. Always down to talk some birds.
Yeah. Honest truth, Mitch, if we had a better defensive coach, Nick would run the ball from the beginning. If we could have been different 6-3 now, or 3-6, been 6-3, whatever. But that's a good point as well. I mean, you can't blame everything on Jalen Hurts when the defense is this bad. I mean, you just can't. Who's that Eagles legend or former Eagle was talking about that? I forget. Merrill Reese, I think. It's that simple.
Yeah, you can. I loved it. That's what I was saying earlier in the video. You gotta the defense, man. Jonathan Gannon. I mean, it's clear to see. And what he just said is obviously what we've been talking about this whole show. But JC, appreciate you joining us, man. But yeah, run that ball, and that allows things to get easier for Jalen Hurts. I mean, and yeah, we could definitely have won those games. And I think for me, what I saw, Mitch, JC, speaking to that question or comment, we played the Chiefs, we played the Buccaneers, we played the Cowboys, and those are some high-scoring offenses. So I feel that he got a little scared. He ran away from the run because he was trying to play keep up even before he needed to. I mean, we were in that Chiefs game till the fourth quarter. So I think, he needs to stick to what you just mentioned there, and we got to clean those things up, and we will find success.
Yeah. If he doesn't have the ball, how can you blame him? People blame him because he's like the quarterback, he's like the captain, he's like the leader, right? So when the team loses, you look at your leader and see what he did wrong. But to me, that's not the way to go. To me, it's everything. Everything comes into a loss or a win.
I'm with you, Mitch. It's a team effort. And that's why I love what Bird's podcast said down here, breaking everything down, because that's what I do. Now, in the heat of the moment in the game, I always rewatch it because it's different when I rewatch it. And then I'm either pissed off or I'm feeling good. But I'm not as crazy, and I can actually watch what's going on. And I think, this team, they've got a lot going on, and there's a lot of little mistakes, little things that if cleaned up, I think this team could be really special, man.
Yeah. I think a lot of us thought we would have been better play calling when we made our preseason predictions.
How about it?
Yeah.
I thought we would be running the ball, man.
Erica, thank you. That was much appreciated. Thank you for that comment as well. So, you know what? Let's talk about the schedule as of right now. Do you think the Eagles have the easy schedule as I pull it up?
I know a lot of people, they talk about strength of schedule, this, that, and the other thing. And I know it looks on paper as one of the easier schedules, but we've got divisional matchups ahead. So those are always tough. And these are teams that are hungry just as much as we are. So I think every obvious matchup in the NFL is going to be a tough matchup, but it is something that we talked about before this season started. The beginning of the schedule is something that builds, a tough team because you're going through the fire there, man. And we did. And, obviously we're 3-6. It was just mentioned we could be 6-3, man. So if you're telling me we stood toe to toe with the Chiefs and some of these other teams, beat the Panthers, that we can't, smack the Broncos, can't smack the Saints, the Giants, Jets. Then you got Washington twice, Giants. I mean, you could win most of those games. And I'm sure there's going to be some tough ones that we could definitely lose. But, man, I'll be real with you. We could definitely turn this thing around. And, I mean, you could end up exactly with, 8-9 wins here. And it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. But for me, I'm sticking to my guns. I don't think it's about wins and losses for this year because I don't want to get in. I would love to kill the Cowboys' hopes, take the NFC East crown. That'd be awesome. But I don't think that's going to happen. It would take a miracle. But the Cowboys always fail themselves because we all know the Cowboys suck. But if we could just get some wins to build confidence and see what Hurts is in these receivers, we're just doing so good. Hey, I'm okay with that if the pick goes down a little bit because the Dolphins are not good. So that pick, we got to just hope keeps getting better,
They're
right?
on tonight against the Ravens.
That's right. Better check my fancy because, as I said, I got Waddle and I think I have Bateman in there too. So
I got Bateman tonight. I just picked up Bateman.
Desperate times, Mitch. Desperate times.
Yeah. So Becker Bird called it 7-10 or 9-8. I went 9-8 as well. How about you in the beginning of the season?
At the beginning of the season, I thought we could win 10 games. I really thought we could get up there. But, at this point, obviously, I think we could end up with 8, and I'd be happy with it. I think 8-9 would not – it sucks. I hate losing. I do. And I think if we would have ran the ball mid-healthy, man, we could have been a 12-win team if we had a veteran head coach and we really had a healthy line. I think this team has a lot of talent, but it's just not either being used correctly or there's just a lot of shooting ourselves in the foot with stupid penalties. Just so many little things that show this is a new head coach team and this is, a lot of young players.
Yeah. So this is going to be the last comment, and then there's something else I want to ask you as well. What is y'all thoughts on the Broncos game this Sunday? Do you think we have a shot of beating them? We do. It depends on the defense. Honestly, It depends on the defense if they can actually stop Melvin Gordon, who's been on fire. I have him on fantasy team. That's a great pickup. But I'm just like, we got to stop him at least, don't you think?
That's the key. I mean, and that's what's been killer for us. We can't stop the run. So you got to stop not only Melvin Gordon, but Javonte Williams. They've got a duo that could smash that rock right down our throats. So you got to shut them down. Teddy Bridgewater, he's a good quarterback, but not one of the greatest. I think what the big key for me, as I mentioned it earlier in this video, is they're missing 3 of their starting offensive linemen, 2 of those guys being the left and right tackle. It's time for Barnett and Sweat. I know Sweat's coming back today. He was limited because of that concussion. I hope he's all right for the game. We need to get pressure. My God, for the love of God, get pressure. And you don't necessarily have to blitz, but you shouldn't have to with the, I think it's, come on, man. Cam Irving and Calvin Anderson are their tackles, their backups. You should be able to dominate. So I want to see us go out there, do that, shut down the run, as you mentioned, get pressure on Teddy Bridgewater, shut their offense down. They've got some good receivers. We'll see if Tim Patrick is healthy because he's questionable right now. But you've got Jerry Jeudy, as we talked about earlier in this video, and they've got Courtland Sutton, 2 really good wide receivers. Got to shut them down. Noah Fant is back off COVID-19. They've got a good offense, and they've got a really good defense. So this offense needs to run the ball, regardless if they're 9th in rushing yards allowed or not. Run that damn ball. Get Jalen Hurts rolling, get those young receivers moving on these. They've got a little bit of a banged up secondary, but they've still got some good ones. Darby's over there, Kyle Fuller. But I want to see Devontae smoke these dudes. I want to see Reagor, Watkins, Goddard get some across the middle. And you know who's my little sleeper in here? Talked about him last week. I said he might get 10 to 15 snaps. He ended up seeing 14. I want to see that 13 personnel. And I want to see Tyree Jackson going off. Everybody focused on all the other weapons. We got our 6'7" monster in there. Let's get it across the middle. Keep Jalen Hurts getting comfortable with making throws, because he did. I think he threw 7 on the left side, threw a bunch in the middle. That what we were seeing was only throwing to the right. So that's progression, and that's what I wanted to see.
Yeah, especially with the O-line and all that. So,
yep.
I'm gonna steal this from Bird Gang, but Bird Gang, if you're still watching this, I love you, man. I've done this in other streams, not just here. But go through your all-time Eagles roster, like your quarterback and everything.
Oh my Lord. My favorite quarterback, probably, Randall Cunningham, but that's not to take away, because Donovan McNabb, man, I loved number 5, man. But my first true love had to be, I think Donovan was close to Randall, but it's Randall. So first love, Randall, my Eagle of all time. Running back, Westbrook, I grew up loving. I used to love Herschel Walker, but Westbrook, I think, probably would go down as my running back. But I love LaShawn McCoy a lot too. So that's pretty tough. Wide receiver, that flash in the pan when I was a teenager, T.O. coming, that made him always, and I will always love him. But I think Irving Fryer was a weird one for me. I always loved him as a kid for some reason. I think it's because I met him and got his autograph. So I just loved the dude when he came over and he played for the Dolphins in Washington. I don't even, whatever. But then I think, Harold Carmichael, my dad talked him up so much as a kid. And then when I got to meet him when I got older, I thought that was always cool. So he'll always go down as one of my favorites. I think that tight end, Brent Selleck, was always probably one of my favorites growing up. My favorite offensive lineman, Kelsey, will always go down as one of my favorites, but Trey Thomas, John Runyon, I grew up watching those guys. I mean, holy crap, there's a lot of Brooks, there's a lot of guys I like on that line. Defense, oh man, Reggie White, Trent Cole. Dude.
You don't have to name like everyone on the D line. You can just name.
Okay, I was like, damn, you really got me on the spot here, man.
We're not going that.
Trotter, linebacker. Then corners. That's a hard one because I love Lito Shepherd. I love Troy Vincent. I love Bobby Taylor. I love Sheldon Brown, Al Harris, Asante Samuel Jr. I love them all. So and then safety, Brian Dawkins. Yeah,
the secondary was like the best part of our team back then.
Oh, yeah.
Countless times and times. So I would like to say thank you for coming on, and we just hit an hour. I mean, like, it was a real pleasure talking to you, getting to know you a little more, and it was just fun talking birds, man. I really appreciate it. And guys, thank you all for coming on. And if you got any last words to say, Jimmy, go for it.
Oh, well, let me thank you, Mitch. This was a splendid time, my friend. I love talking my birds, and especially when you know that somebody cares just as much as you. So you had some great fans out here in the comments with some great questions and comments. You kept things going the whole time. We could have gone for 5 hours if we didn't have things to do. So I love it, Mitch. I look forward to the next time we're talking to each other. This was great, and thank you so much to you and everybody else who tuned in.
Oh, yeah. And guys, please subscribe to the Spotlight Sports Network. All their links are in the description as well. Subscribe to all the other content creators as well. They're a great group of people. And thank you all for coming. See you all.